Hey guys, so today I want to share a little bit with you about downsizing your wardrobe. This video is going to be less about decluttering and more about completing a massive downsize. So when we first decided we were going to live on a boat, we lived in a 2-bedroom, pretty spacious condo. From there we moved to a 25-foot RV, and then after bouncing around with family a little bit, we moved to a 38-foot catamaran. So we're talking about eliminating about 75 to 80% of your clothes. If that's something that is a goal for you, then I have 5 steps that I think could help you feel less overwhelmed and defeated by downsizing, and will in the end make you really love having a minimalistic wardrobe. So the first step before we begin our downsize is to really define the purpose for why you are downsizing. Whether you want to move on a sailboat or in an RV, or maybe you just want to downsize to save money, you want to move into a smaller apartment, maybe you want to get your office back so that you can start working from home, or you might have like a new addition to the family. Whatever it is, it needs to be a priority if you're going to succeed. So I encourage you to put that end goal front and center in your daily life so that you're constantly reminded of why you're tackling this challenge. Step 2 is to be realistic about how long the downsizing process takes. This is not a project that's going to take 1 or 2 weeks. It's probably going to take more than 1 or 2 months. For me, it took about 1.5 years of like consistently pursuing this goal. I had a lot of clothes and I had a lot of emotional baggage with my clothes. So I'm not saying it's going to take you that long, but just keep in mind that getting rid of our things is a really personal and emotional process. I know that sounds a little heavy for it's just stuff, but we do form attachments to our things, and sometimes you're so close to it that you don't even know why you can't get rid of something. So it just takes a while for your subconscious to kind of work through your issues, I guess, in a way. So just be realistic about the time it's going to take, and remember that it's going to be a lot of small steps to get to that end goal. This is 100% a marathon and not a sprint. Step 3 is to have a strategy for downsizing your clothing. Everybody is a little different. Different things work for different people. So I can kind of tell you what my strategy was, but in the end, I think you just do some research and you kind of figure out what works for you. The one thing that I think you should do is set some rules before you start your process. So I set 5 rules for going through my clothing. So the first rule for me was that anything was torn or stained or needed altering, that I gave myself a timeline to do that. And if I didn't make that timeline, that item obviously wasn't important enough to fix for me. So I would get rid of it. So the second rule I abided to was that if it didn't fit or if it was uncomfortable, it needed to go. I cannot tell you how many clothes were kind of uncomfortable for me that I wore like weekly, and it was just kind of normal. Once you start this process, I think you become more aware of what you really like to wear, and you'll start to become more in tune with those items that are just kind of meh. So rule 3 was if it was worn beyond repair, then it was time for it to go. This is kind of a hard one, especially if it's usually stuff that you really like, if it's worn beyond repair. So even though I love that stuff, I would kind of feel weird in it. Not weird, but just sort of down when I wore it, because if it was peeled or, I don't know, had like a hole in it or something, like I know that's there. For me, it meant that I just really wasn't my best that day. So I got rid of those items as well. Rule number 4, if it was no longer my style, it needed to go. That was a hard one. I had so many things that late 20s Morgan just loved, but mid 30s Morgan, they might have just been not quite conservative enough, or my style's just changed, I guess. And it's kind of hard to come to terms with that and to like just accept that, because if you really used to love an item, and that, according to Marie Kondo, if you love it, you keep it, but you still have those feelings of that you used to love it, but now you don't, it's kind of hard to sort through. And that's why this process can take so long, is that you have to kind of step back and realize that it's okay to let those things go. You loved them once, they did their job, now somebody else can love them. Rule 5, if you don't love it, let it go. Straightforward, but also very difficult. Especially if you spend a good deal of money on something and you had kind of a vision for it, and your vision just hasn't quite come together. You know, you saw yourself wearing something a certain way and really like loving yourself in it, and then it just hasn't worked out, and that's a bummer. And it's hard to kind of accept defeat to that, but at the same time it's also hard to open your closet and realize that it's just too much trouble to wear something, and it'll bring you down every time you open your closet and you go by that piece and you go, God, I just don't have the energy to figure out how to wear that or how to wear it. So those are kind of the rules that I set for myself. The other really important part of having a strategy is having a measurable goal. So for me, I found a consignment shop, and that consignment shop just happened to have a rule that you could bring 20 items a week to drop off. And so that was my rule. That was my goal. Every week I would drop off 20 items. So I would always go through my closet. I would find clothing, some shoes, accessories, jewelry, whatever, and make sure that I drop off 20 items. What this did was it forced me to go through my closet every week. So what's really great about that is when you have those clothes that you see every week and you go, oh, I don't want to get rid of that. I haven't worn it in a while, but I want to get rid of it. I'll wear it. And then the next week you see it again and you go, oh, I still haven't worn that. And then the next week, oh, I still haven't worn that. So then you can really start to realize that it is way too much trouble to try and wear that item, and you probably need to just let it go on down to the road to the next person that's gonna love it and wear it. So whether you use a consignment shop, or maybe you want to use Poshmark and you can say, okay, I'm gonna list 10 items a week, or maybe you do like a mix of everything. You can put some stuff on eBay that's maybe a little higher price, that it's worth doing the listings, or you can do a little bit of Poshmark, and then you want to do a little bit of consignment, and then you want to do like some thrift stuff, just get rid of stuff, give it away. So however you want to do it, the most important part is that you can write that down and say, okay, I'm going to do this each week. And what that'll do is that'll constantly keep you moving forward. And for me, that was really helpful because I am a numbers kind of gal. So I like something where I can say, okay, I did that. Check. Done for the week. And then on to the next week. So step 4 is learning to love your minimalist wardrobe. And I love this step because that means you're on the up. You're over the hump when you get here, and everything's starting to be a little more fun. You've got the motivation now, you know, you're cleaning out your closet, you're getting rid of stuff every week, and you're really starting to see a difference and love this new like lifestyle that you've made for yourself. Just to keep the motivation going and also make it a little more aesthetically pleasing when you dive into your closet. The first thing I would do is, I know this sounds silly, but have matching hangers. All your hangers should be the same. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if they're black plastic or wood or whatever. Make them all the same. It's easy on the eyes. You're diving into your closet, and yes, it's a lot better than it used to be, but you want to be able to look in there and just see what you need to see. You don't need to see hangers. If they're all different colors, you're going to see hangers, and you have to like train your brain to like push that away. That's not important. So it just really kind of helps you zone in and makes it a little more peaceful when you open your closet. The other thing that I like to do is sort clothes from dark to light. Again, it's easy on the eyes. It's easy to find stuff. You can actually see what colors you have in your wardrobe, or like how many neutrals you have. It just makes it a lot easier. The whole goal of this process, I think, is to really be able to see your clothes, and you should be getting to that point. Once you have a strategy and you're moving forward, you should be getting to that point where you can open your closet and you can see everything. And that's fantastic, because then you know you're wearing everything, or you know if you're not wearing something immediately because you see it every day. Another thing you can do to piggyback on that is, now that you kind of have a vision for your wardrobe, you can buy some containers that will work. If you have the average American closet anyway, there's always going to be some like hole that you can't get to, or shelf where you can't really see what's in it. So what I like to do is find baskets or something that fits nicely in there so you could just pull it right out. And then also, if you're folding your clothes where you can see them, you'll be able to quickly just take in that, and it just makes it a lot easier to find what you're looking for or put together an outfit. It's a no-brainer. So figure out how you want to contain your clothes in your closet, and also learn to fold. The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. I highly recommend you read that book, if for no other reason, just to learn how to fold your clothes, learn how to fold your underwear. It is life-changing. It will make you so happy and unstressful to open drawers and open your closet. And finally, step 5 is maintaining your minimalist wardrobe now that you've created it. And this can sometimes be almost as daunting as downsizing to begin with, but now you've got all this great experience, maintaining it is not quite as difficult. The big thing to keep in mind here is that once you've downsized, this is a constant process. It may not be such a big project as you continue to maintain, but it's always going to be a little bit of a challenge. You're always going to be learning new things about yourself. And we change constantly. You know, you change jobs, you move, you build families, you change hobbies, all kinds of things. So with that, your lifestyle and your clothing is going to change, and you're going to like different things. So just keep that in mind, that once you've done this, you know, your closet's kind of like a rotating door of your personality and a reflection of your life and how you're living. Just keep that in mind, and you'll always be able to maintain your minimalistic wardrobe. So that's it. Those are my 5 steps to downsizing your wardrobe. I hope that this has been helpful and you're inspired in some way to start tackling your closet. What are some of the benefits that you found to maybe living with less clothing? If you've got any questions about downsizing, you've hit some roadblocks, let me know. And I hope that everybody can still enjoy just opening their closet.